My dear psychology students, and welcome to our course, Educational Psychology. Very often, I would ask the question, what kind of psychology will you be in the future? Anong klaseng psychologist ka, let's say 10 years from now? What are you going to specialize on? Just a piece of reminder for all of you as an undergrad. Um, you are exposed to different courses in psychology, whether it's this research or developmental psych, or child psychology, or adolescent psychology, or whatever. So this is an opportunity for you to imagine yourself, to reflect on what exactly you want to be in the future as a psychologist. So again, this course is another opportunity for you to look into anong klaseng psychology magiging ako. So psychology is a very broad area in terms of your professional practice. So you needed at least as early as this time, you needed to pinpoint saan ako magiging magaling, saan ako magiging very effective in terms of providing services, psychological services to Filipino client, whether it is in a clinical area as a clinical psychologist, whether you're working on developmental aspect of um, in terms of human development, or you can look at the community, or you can even look into educational psychology, working with, let's say, the teaching and learning processes. So again, this is the time for you to explore. Baka ito yung magiging area ko in terms of my practice, which is educational psychology. So I wanted to be an educational psychologist in the future. But even then, you have to be aware that educational psychology is quite a broad area also. So as we explore educational psychology, so you need to um, pinpoint also what area in educational psychology I will be focusing on. Just for example, you would like to focus on children, you would like to focus on adolescents. So you would like to focus, for example, dealing with, let's say, college students. Let's go back to children. So even with children, this is still a very broad area. For example, you can focus on special needs, or even with special needs, you can, for example, there's so many areas in special need. You can focus on children with cerebral palsy. You can focus on children with autism, or you can focus with children with have a severe learning difficulty, or you can focus on children with exceptional needs, or children who are gifted, or you can be an educational psychologist focused on pedagogy, working on the different processes of teaching and learning happening in the classroom. So you can specialize in that, and or you can work on assessment, not only psychological assessment, but you look into the academic assessments and look at the value of assessment in terms of the development or the growth, human development of children. So again, when we start exploring educational psychology or the other psychologist subject of that matter, so situate yourself or imagine yourself in that position, becoming an educational psychologist. So my dear students, as early as this time, figure out for yourself um, what kind of psychology will I be. But this not only end when you, for example, you graduate with your bachelor's degree. It doesn't end with that. So this is just an introduction. So you needed to really specialize on something. So you can take your master's degree and even take your doctoral degree. So that you can fully maximize your potential and explore different um, areas, for example, of educational psychology. So you need to really master a specific area of educational psychology. All right. So let's now zero in with the content of the course. I won't be reading the course description, but again, the focus of educational psychology is for us to understand um, how the different classical theories are at work in educational setting. So we would like to understand what exactly is happening in the classrooms between teachers and students, and what are the psychological processes involved with the engagement of teachers and students, and eventually look at the different issues that are happening. Just for example, some of the issues that are happening is the difficulty of children to cope up with academic challenges, or the motivation, or the attention span of children. So these are the things that we can look into. Or even, for example, the language development. Why is it that some children are so it's so easy for them to to understand things, while whereas some children are having difficulty? Why is it that some children are so fast in picking up things, and some children are quite slow in understanding specific subjects in a classroom? So these are the things that we are going to look into. But at the same time, also, we will try to understand what specific roles can we adapt or we can embrace in terms of dealing with the issues and challenges happening in the classroom. All right. So you go over the course learning outcomes, and right. So for in terms of processes, because of my extensive experience in educational psychology. So again, as I mentioned before, I worked for 10 years in the University of Bahrain, training teachers and teaching educational psychology, psychological processes in classrooms. So I have been training pre-service and in-service teachers, and I have been going to different primary schools, um, observing what exactly is happening inside the classroom, and coaching or advising teachers on what they can possibly do to address some concerns inside the classroom. But at the same time, also directly dealing with children who are having some difficulty or having some issues inside the classroom. All right. So so what I mean is that I will be sharing with you some cases, or I will be where we will be working on specific cases happening in the Philippines in terms of teaching and learning processes in the classroom. So in short, we will be analyzing cases, and as we analyze cases, we will be using psychological theories. As you know, when you shift from one psychology subjects to the other, we are actually dealing on the same theories. Only that these theories of psychology, we are going to use that in the context of classroom setting, or school setting, or educational setting. Okay, so I advise you to review the classic psychological theories as we explore different cases inside the classroom. So what are the specific areas of theoretical theories that you need to review? Um, as far as instance, so I would like you to review the biological theory of learning, the nurture and nature brain. You know about that. The brain, sensory, and memory, the learning diversity, and look at the behavioral theory, specifically the classical and upright conditioning, and review the humanistic theory of learning. For example, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Erickson's psychosocial development, and the cognitive theory of learning, for instance, the information processing, thinking patterns. So we're going to look into what is often used in the school, a basic structure to understand and organize the learning processes in the classroom, which is the Bloom's taxonomy. And the next one is the constructivist theory of learning, specifically pioneered by Piaget, Vygotsky, and Brunner. And the next one is looking into the sustaining learning through motivation. So we're going to look at some specific concepts on the area of motivation. And last but not the least, we look into the most contemporary learning theory, for example, the multiple intelligence and artificial intelligence. So again, as I mentioned earlier, you have been into these already. So just a matter of review. But now we're going to look at these theories in the context of classroom, the teaching and learning, the engagement between teachers and children or students. All right. And then, and in terms of assessment, there are two major assessments for the semester. One for the midterm and one for the finals. So again, basically, you will be doing a case report or even a case analysis. So the first one is you will be doing a self-assessment on cognitive development and academic performance. So, so the thing is that I would like you to is a self-reflection on your development, on your own growth in terms of your cognitive development and academic performance. So I would like you to evaluate your cognitive growth. I would like you to evaluate your academic performance. So why do we want to do this? You know, as a psychologist, so remember this. Bago ka tumulong sa iba, tulungan mo muna ang sarili mo. Okay? Bago ka magmagaling na kaya mong isalba ang buhay ng iba psychologically, just make sure you can manage and you can control your own life. Okay? So this is the basic thing. You can only, for example, you can only provide mental health services if you are in one way or another, you can manage your own mental health. If you wanted to change the behavior of people, just make sure you have the capacity, you have the energy, you have the power to control your own behavior. So before we jump into understanding the learning capacity, potential, even limitations of children in the classroom in terms of academic performance, in terms of cognitive development, try to look into ourselves first. So this is the most interesting, perhaps more meaningful exercise that we can do. So let us evaluate ourselves. Okay. So these are the basic guidelines that you need to look into. Just go over it. All right. And so the thing is, as you explore the different theories of learning, so you reflect on your own personal development. Okay. So this will be your midterm assessment, right? So I have a template here. So this is the basic template that you can use. But if you have a better idea beyond this template, then you're free to use. And as long as the basic content of the report should contain these different questions or different categories. All right. So you go over that. So later on, if you have any question, you can always raise questions during our synchronous class. Even in the asynchronous class, you can always email me. You can always contact me if you have questions. So this is due on May 2, 2022. So as I have been doing before, I'm laying down my expectations as early as this time, so as you can start working. Okay, the due date for these for submission of these specific tasks will be on May 2, 2022 through email, not in Teams, Microsoft Word, and not PDF file. Okay. All right. And so aside from this assessment, we will be doing some case analysis, and that will be part of your assessment also. But again, this is the major tasks that will constitute a huge chunk of your grades. Right? And the next assessment for the finals will be you will be doing another case report, but this time I would like you to look for a child. Okay, I would like you to have a subject for this report. So I advise you just to look for some, I mean, children close to you. I mean, your relative or your brother or your sister or your cousins. So somebody who is near within your family, family loop. So don't go beyond that. So that you are easily in control of everything. Okay. So again, inuulit ko, huwag kayong kukuha ng bata na labas sa sarili ng pamilya. Okay? So this is just a very simple exercise. Okay? This is just just for you to get used to understanding on basic issues and at the same time relating that to psychological theories. Okay? So these are the different components I'm asking you to look at, right? So the simple task is simply to understand um, a specific issue of a child, whether it is issue in motivation, issue on paying attention to specific learning, or um, insight. For example, we are now on the online learning, so there must be some issues happening with the child during the online learning. All right, so these are the things that you can explore, or some difficulty, for example, in mathematics, or some difficulty in all subjects, or even in writing, or even in speaking. So those are the issues that you can look into, but just focus on one specific concerns. But later on, even you're focusing on one specific concern, magsasanga-sanga yan eh, you'll be able to connect on different other issues that might be contributing to the presence of that specific problem that you would like to work on. All right. But again, you're going to understand the issue, but at the same time, you're going to conceptualize the intervention. But you will not be implementing any intervention because you don't have that capacity yet. So we are only into the conceptualization. We are not yet into the implementing because you don't have that capacity yet. Okay, because when you're dealing with children, it's quite complicated. Okay, it's just a matter of this is just a very very simple exercise. So don't make things very complicated. Okay, so we simply want to have a better and clearer understanding on the interconnection between theories and at the same time its application in the real issues happening with the students or happening in the classroom. All right. So again, this is the basic template that you're going to use. Again, but at the end of everything, it's like you're free to use your own format, in as long as these basic components are incorporated. You can add other elements, but this is the most basic that you need to address. Again, this is the rubric for scoring. Right. So the submission for this will be no. This is not May. This is somewhere. Sorry, this will be on June 20, 2022. All right. So again, I'm giving these things ahead of time, so there's no reason for you not to be able to do it. Okay. So this is very very easy and very very basic. So plan ahead of time. Again, plan ahead of time, and do not procrastinate. All right. So so again, my dear students, so I think that is the most basic that we need to understand in terms of our engagement in educational psychology course. And just again, as a reminder, those assessments, those work will be individual work. There will be no group work, because I also would like to understand your individual capacity, potentials, and limitations. when we're working on educational psychology, one of the interesting aspect of educational psychology is we would like to understand the diversity of children. We would like to understand the individual differences. So this is an opportunity for me as your professor to understand you individually and the specific challenges that you encounter. Just for example, when you start working on your personal evaluation of your cognition and your academic performance, then I will have a glimpse of your soul in terms of your personal growth. Even if it is related to cognition and academic performance, there might be some important issue that you might be able to bring out. Okay, so that's all for now, and I'll be giving you the readings, necessary readings and references that you can looking into for your advanced reading, right? And you can also use that as a reference for your case studies. Okay, so that's all, people. So thank you so much, and enjoy the reading, and hopefully we will be having a very interesting and joyful engagement in the class. And hopefully, at the end of everything, you'll be able to recognize your potential of becoming an educational psychologist. So that's all for now. Continue to take care of yourself and be well. Bye bye.